are back, guys, with the star of Ray Donovan, Ismael Cruz Cordova. Bienvenido.
Bienvenidísimo, Ismael.
All right.
Nice to have you.
Yes. You know what to do? Do you know what to do?
I saw it on YouTube.
You saw it on YouTube. He does his research. So, okay, at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Wow!
Oh,
man, he had a good one. He pretty put that in there.
He knows how to thrust.
Wait,
Ya empezaron.
Ray Donovan is probably one of the best shows on TV right now. I mean, there's a certain grit and realism to the show that most TV shows don't have. So, first of all, tell us about how you got the role and tell us about your role on the show this season because it's stealing the show.
Sorry, and also what the show really is, because there's people that don't know it. Just to explain
Good point. Okay.
All right, so, I mean, let's start with what the show really is.
Yeah.
So the show is about, I mean, in general, Ray Donovan, this guy that's a fixer that pretty much just fixes rich and famous people's messes, you know, and under the law or above the law, however you want to say it. It's just like, you know, whatever it takes to fix whatever mess they do, like these high-profile situations that they get into. And, well, I am one of those people now in the show. His name is Hector Campos. Él es Hector, dije Hector.
I'm like,
Hector
Campos.
Yeah, me acostumbro. He's a world boxing champion that actually, I mean, he has a different relationship with Ray because they have this brotherhood and understanding based on the troubled past that they both had. And they both experienced abuse. They both have like all these these complex and dark situations in their life that and they're not people that are super open with other people or with other men. So they finally find each other and kind of have an understanding, and the conflict just goes from there.
What are some of the things that your character is dealing with? So explain the downward spiral, because I'm always interested in downward spirals. I've been on a few.
Okay.
I'm like, so let's talk about the character. Hector is a survivor of sexual abuse by a priest when he was a child. And part of the storyline in the show is all this network of survivors of sexual abuse by priests. So in that situation, in that group, they meet through this guy named Padre Romero that introduces them when Ray comes out of all this trouble. Hector steps in and helps him. And Hector, in the beginning of the show, I can say that because it's already aired, super well put together, kind of like we call it baller at the top of his, he's a world boxing champion of the world, 40-0, you know? So, you know, you see him like just at the top, wants to help Ray. And then everything flips right away when he is found with what we later know to be his half-sister.
Con el tema del boxeo, Ismael, ¿tuviste que tomar clases o ya boxeabas desde antes? O sea, ¿cómo fue el reto? Because I'm sure that was a challenge for
Sí,
you.
mucho. Español, inglés, lo como sea, ¿no?
Como
Sí,
Bueno, dale, pues, español. Tan pronto me dieron la parte de que hice una audición por video de Nueva York. Llegué acá, hice una prueba, regreso a Nueva York, 2 días luego estoy acá, nuevamente comenzando ya con el personaje, pero inmediatamente to the gym. Seeing 5-6 hours a day.
Were you out of shape before? Is that what it was?
Out of shape, but yeah, a little bit. But the thing is that he's not just a boxer, you know. He's a world boxing champion. So there's an elite situation happening. He's at the top of this craft, and you've seen lo increíble que es un boxeador when they're fighting.
And also the technique, I can imagine. I mean, I'm a boxing fan, and whenever I've seen actors not pull off, and it's like, that guy does not know how to punch, and they're casting him as a...
Do you use stunts, though, or no?
Before that, I did, like, in other action stuff that I did my stunts.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've been an athlete, like, all my life. I was a swimmer for many years, and it's a...
What is this girl? Tell us.
Pero nuevo.
Yo pregunto, los fans quieren saber.
Está bien.
If I was to do that to a female guest, not only would I be fired, I'd never have a job again.
But I'm not going to get into that, you know?
Well, I was just checking.
Está bien.
That's quality control, honey.
It passed. Just put a sticker ahí.
There you go.
No, pero el entrenamiento fue muy fuerte, pero por eso mismo, because as an actor, I want to find the truth of these characters, and I'm a perfectionist, and I'm obsessed with that, and I know that a lot of boxing fans watch the show. So again, it's not just a boxer; it's a world boxing champion. Right. Why is this guy undefeated? So I had the incredible task of trying to look like have the technique and have the swagger and have like you know, being comfortable in that skin. So I had to do a lot of training.
Do you watch a lot of fights like on TV and stuff and movies about boxers and like the UFC? I mean, I know it has none, but like just the punching and all that?
I mean, the punching, I focused on being there and doing my training like 4 hours a day with my trainer, Julian Chua, and like this other place, Alta Sports. But, you know, mainly focusing on that technique, but also more on the lifestyle, because I'm playing a boxer behind the scenes as well.
And a lot of them have crazy lives, because I get to interview some of these fighters, and they're always the most interesting athletes because they always have just crazy I mean, to be a fighter, you already have to have like
A little bit of
a screw loose.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
Have you gotten hurt at all? Like,
Yeah, I had a black eye and like my joints and everything. But
I want to know, what is it like working with, that was Lisa Bonet, right? In the scene with you. Because even she turns me on. And I'm like, I mean, being next to her, things can happen.
Watch
you know,
Angel Heart, by
to
the
your
way.
body,
But yeah,
yes.
she's amazing. She's so sexy.
no, she's aside from being just incredibly beautiful and ethereal and just amazing, she's also just a kind heart, strong woman. Her views, her like the way she carries herself. She walks right here, and everybody would just be silent, you know?
Really?
Because it's just a beautiful human being. Like, and also just like the way she lives her life. And as a scene partner as well, just giving, always there, wanting to also, you know, for me to feel comfortable, for us to tell the story together. So, you know, you have to give up a lot of your ego and your persona, and you know, to be able to carry these stories that are so truthful and so twisted and so real.
entregas.
Sí, te tienes que entregar porque este personaje puede ser nada más sensacional, you know, sensational. Because, oh, it's the brother, sister, da, da, da. But there's a truth to these characters that people are connecting with, because we took that time to just like bond and show also how they were there for each other.
That's why that show's doing so good, and it's cool to see you doing good in it. So.
All right.
We're gonna be back, with more from Ismael Cruz Cordova. La batería, que son más maracas para mí que nada, porque de batería no sé nada. Pero...
Cálmate, mujer, cálmate. All right, guys, we are back on the zoo with the one and only Ismael Cruz Cordova. Welcome back. Well, you never left, really. You never left.
I've been here. I've been here.
Thank you so much.
He's like, I'm chilling.
Yeah.
What do you think about the vibe of this show? Is this anything that have you ever experienced this before?
Not at all. You guys are crazy.
It's a zoo.
Kidding. No, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Is it like Sesame Street crazy because you were also on that show?
No, very high energy, kind of like that, but
Okay.
in a very different, like, it's not rated the same way.
Theirs is rated G and us is like rated almost X at some time.
Yeah, I saw that.
Really?
Well, we're going
Does
for
it get bad?
PG-13, but we always mess it up, and it's usually your fault, Dennis.
Sorry, guys, I can't
Exactly. It's usually his comments
it is.
that make it an X.
Ismael, where did you grow up? And you know, did you grow up in New York or
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, San Juan?
Resist.
And Aguas Buenas is a small town in the mountains.
Wow.
Like
Like-
on the West Coast?
No,
on-
it's
by
actually
San
on
Juan?
the northern, like, this is like a central strip of mountains, so it's like northern part of those mountains, like 40 minutes from San Juan.
And then you moved to New York to pursue acting?
Yes.
Or,
I mean, I started acting in Puerto Rico, actually. I did my first movie at 15 out there, and then I kept on acting until I was 19 when I left to go
Not
to
to
New
make
York.
it political, I mean, you saw that we were bashing Trump before, but what do you think about Puerto Rico's issues with the bailout? How do people feel in Puerto Rico right now? Is there a movement in Puerto Rico, by the way, to become an
I
independent
mean, there's
country?
actually a movement in Puerto Rico. I mean, there's always been unrest, you know, with the political situation. And right now, yes, there is. It's hard for me to directly comment because I've been away for 10 years, you know. So everything that I get is either when I'm visiting my family or instructing myself in reading. But there's definitely a situation that's just very clear, regardless of politics. You know, a lot of jobs have been lost. You know, my parents have suffered from that. Both of them had to leave the island to like look for better opportunities. So there's definitely unrest and burgeoning. Is that the word? Maybe. That is the word. Like movement happening, especially from the youth, trying to figure out what the next step is. Yeah.
Okay, wait, on to a
as
lighter
scared
note.
as everybody.
I want to know, toda la gente en Aguas Buenas están buenas.
Bueno, sí.
Yeah?
Because if I say something else, they're all watching me. Pero,
We do have an affiliate in Puerto Rico, by the way, so
Bueno,
they probably are watching you out there.
yo lo quiero mucho, no. Ese es mi sitio, un sitio hermoso, bonito, vacas, caballos, gallinas, muy simple en ese sentido. Y medio...
Are you like a farmer? Is that what it is?
No, pero todo el mundo alrededor. Like, I did live next to my uncle's farm. You know,
Oh, wow.
plátano y toda la cosa. Y los caballos de él will always come to my house. Like, la vaca, you wake up in the morning trying to go to school and be like, oh, there's a cow. You know, just like trying to like move
Like in
it, you
India.
know? Yeah. It was beautiful.
I went to Puerto Rico, I went to Lajas, and every freaking day, the chickens would wake me up.
Ah, but that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I mean, I'm kind of, you know,
The
kind of like
freaking chickens.
romantic about it, you
Beautiful.
know? Like, to me, I miss those moments.
And that is, I mean, birds at the crack of dawn. By the way, speaking to something that's also beautiful, you have a role, which is beautiful, in Ang Lee's next movie. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so Ang Lee, next movie, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. It's based on a novel by the same name. It follows the story of these 8 soldiers that perform a heroic rescue mission in Iraq, 2004. They get brought back to the States as heroes for this 2-week, they call Victory Tour. Like, they'll press and they do like stuff like this right after being facing the horrors of war. So it was like, what the hell?
I can picture you wearing a uniform. Are you going to be wearing one?
Oh yeah, the
Oh,
entire.
I see it.
We
the
like
entire
more out
film.
of the uniform.
I see it.
This corner here.
Ay,
This
Dios
corner
mío.
here. I mean,
than just the
it's kind of okay with me. You
Yes,
know?
I know.
Like, it's like an
Kind
ego
of.
boost. I'm gonna leave here like.
And Vivian is losing her fresa because she came here saying, no, I'm gonna be the good girl. And Vivian is actually showing a little bit of her bad girl
Did
side.
I
Why are you
say
making
that?
her? Yeah,
Did I really?
We
Come
casted
on.
you thinking that you're gonna be the person who's gonna bring us down from the craziness, and you're just adding fuel to the fire, which
Yes.
is why we're keeping you, okay?
Oh, thank you.
Speaking of which, it's time to do the award show, Vivian.
So, you guys, it's always award season in Hollywood, and here on the zoo, we have our own awards show, The Animals. Due to budget constraints, we have to give out awards little by little. Here to present the award for Outstanding Performance as an existential character with a dark and troubled past are Bruno and Humberto.
Hey! So happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
So we'll do them from right here.
is big
I thought we were gonna stand up, but you know what?
Let's do it here.
Sometimes you gotta sit it down. You gotta be like Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He said, why stand up when you can sit down?
Just like him. All right, so the first nominee is Rory McCann from Game of Thrones for his role as the violent, wonky-faced guy who's way into killing.
Second nominee is Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead for his role as the squinty crossbow guy whose leather vest probably smells really, really bad.
Yeah, I kind of want this thing now. And lastly, Ismael Cruz Cordova from Ray Donovan for his role as the champion boxer whose eyes still make him dreamy even after barfing from heroin withdrawals.
And Bruno, you were right on one thing but wrong on the other. It's not the last one. The last nominee. The last nominee is Michael Kelly from The House of Cards for his role as Kevin Spacey's crony who falls in love with the prostitute he's supposed to murder and bury. Bruno,
Ooh, tough
ready?
break.
And the
Tough
envelope
break.
reads.
Rip it up, rip it up. Ah! And the winner is
Ismael Cruz Cordova from Speech, yes.
Where do I stand? Where do I stand?
Right here, right here, right here.
Come on.
Ismael.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I wish I knew and I wish I written a speech, but actually I wrote a speech.
What?
I found a speech in the couch. So, you know, I would like to thank Showtime, the cast, the crew, and fans of Ray Donovan. I also would like to thank my pretend boxing promoter and pretend trainer for making me a pretend boxing champion. Yes. And finally, Andres Valencia, the brilliant, handsome writer, for preparing this inspiring speech.
Of course. Thank
you.
That's our co-producer and head writer in the back of the mass control, always patting his name.
love you,
with
Andres.
Thank
you, Valencia.
Thank you so much, man.
This is for you.
Yes.
That's fine.
Very good.
That award
fine.
was brought to you by the letter A for award, yes.
Oh, thank you so
Yes,
much.
wow.
I can't wait to see your
Big
actual
shout out to
speech
Dennis.
with your actual, super actual nomination.
What is that thing?
Like a green elephant.
That's the animal.
Yeah, this is the animal, and
don't
this
ask
is
too many
about.
questions.
Listen, we
It's
only have
so
about half an
cool.
hour before the show is to prep things, but I want to thank our art department, Lina Cordero.
Thank you.
No, by the way, Ismael, before we leave though, anytime we have, you know, I'm Cubano, anytime we have somebody from an Afro-Caribbean country, we just assume they're good dancers.
Oh.
So are you doing the cosimba? Are you doing the bachata? What kind of dance are you
You
doing?
can do a
Oh,
salsa.
Salsa?
Un poquito de salsa.
I think that, yes, please, teach her how to
Ay,
dance some
no,
salsa.
yo
Yes.
soy malísima. Bueno,
Yes.
vale.
Ah, well, well, then I give you a little lesson.
Ay,
Yeah,
no.
oh, he's gonna give her a lesson. Okay, fine.
Are you single? Is this okay with your...
We'll talk about that.
It's fine. Shut up, Dennis.
Salsa, para adelante y para atrás, no.
Adelante.
Una vueltita. Ahí. We'll get there. We'll get there.
We're already. We'll
That is better than she's ever danced before in her life. So Dennis, take us out, man.
All right. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. This is as much action I'm gonna get today. Don't you dare move, people, because when we return, we've got the music of Saya. You are watching the Zoo.